Welcome to Split Decision with I'm your host, Jer Wilson, all the way from the West Coast, and we got Mike Owens all the way from the UK. And we'll be talking about MMA and just combat sports in general, and just having different takes, same takes, and just getting great guests on as per usual with both of the normal podcasts. So today we have from Elevation Fight Team, one of the top lightweights in the world who has a huge fight next week, Drew Dober. Welcome, Drew.
Thank you so much for having me. I love being on your show.
No problem. And then here's Mike too as well. So Mike, just give a little 2 cents to talk about your podcast too as well.
So I do a similar thing to what Jer does. This is our first time speaking with Drew Dober, but I know you guys have a little bit of a relationship, and I'm thankful for your time today, Drew.
Of course, I appreciate it greatly. I mean, this is why I love Fight Week. I get more opportunities to talk with you guys.
How is training camp going for this fight?
I mean, camp's done and over with. The work's already put in, but yeah, it was fun. It was smooth sailing. I mean, the ups and downs like any other typical camp, but yeah, hard work, a lot of discipline, routine, same in day out. But now it's time for the fun part.
So obviously, like wins and losses happen in sports. That's just the way it goes, you know. After coming off a loss like the one you just had, is there anything you change into your fight camp specifically, or do you kind of just do what you do and just keep getting gradually better?
I mean, there's always evolution. There's always new things that I can improve on, whether I win or lose. But Islam definitely showed me like some aspects of my game that I need to adjust. And majority would be offensive grappling and offensive wrestling. I think working strictly on defense really doesn't really allow me to progress the fight or take control of the fight. So yeah, we just altered from being a defense-focused grappling to now having a little bit fun with some offense.
Is that maybe an insight into some of the tactics for this fight coming up, Drew? Is takedowns going to be a key part of the strategy, or don't you want to? Don't you want to go?
I mean, it's not a secret. I think, yeah, Brad Riddell has an extensive kickboxing background, and yeah, I mean, kickboxing's great. I love kickboxing, but this isn't. You know, this is chess, not checkers, and so we're doing full mixed martial arts. And man, I have these ears for a reason. I know how to wrestle, and so yeah, of course, I'm bringing in all aspects of MMA.
It's kind of actually a really good point, like you just said there, though, with kind of just learning, like practicing defense all the time, and then switching that transition to learning and understanding, like, oh, hey, like I need to be on the offensive as well to be able to control this, dominate, get points, and be able to take a match. And that's like, just like you said, it's chess, not checkers. And points are so crucial in a UFC match nowadays, especially with judging.
Yeah, absolutely. And plus, you know, there are different weapons too. So where, you know, if my opponent's only threatened by my Muay Thai or my striking, then like he can feel safe on the ground. So I need to have more weapons to threaten my opponent. So, you know, I might take him down. I might not take him down, but I sure am going to threaten him with it.
What is it like fighting such different styles back to back? Because we've got Islam, this international master of Sambo, and now Brad Riddell, the extensive kickboxer. What is that like for you, Drew?
Oh, it's amazing. You know, Jean-Claude Van Damme Bloodsport. Like, I'm going to a Kumite and fighting the best in the world at whatever discipline they're coming in with. And man, this is what I absolutely love. And that's why I wanted a quick turnaround. I wanted to get another one in. And as soon as I mentioned Brad Riddell, I was like, yeah, we're making that fight happen. Because, yeah, I want to fight the best in everything.
Is this a matchup that excites you? I would imagine predominantly a striking match with some of these takedowns mixed in, as we're talking about.
Oh, of course. I mean, you got to ask yourself, like, as a fan, like, are you more excited about this fight? Because, I mean, I'm in this sport to have fantastic fights. So, you know, having a fight that the audience can get behind, get excited about, and even talk about when it's done and over with, you know, these are the fights that I want. And so, you know, if it's my decision to either have a boring fight against a ranked opponent or have an exciting fight against an unranked opponent, I'll choose the latter.
It's funny that you said that too, because like over the last couple of weeks, and me and Mike have been talking about lining you up as our first guest. That's all we've talked about is your fight against Brad and how good of a fight this is going to be. And so that's why we're super excited to talk to you, because it was like, yeah, this is going to be a banger. There's no questions about it. It's like got 50K lined up for it, hopefully.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm into it. And I think the thing that excites me the most is the type of fight where, if I were to beat Islam, I would win, or like, I lost, and like it's the outcome, the stat that everyone looks at.
Yeah.
But with my fight with Brad Riddell, it's the full 15 minutes that people are going to be excited about. It's not one that you just read on the news like, oh, Drew won or whatever. Like people are like, oh man, I gotta tune in to watch that. And so this is the type of fight that, like, people are just going to be engaged in every round.
Is it oh, go ahead, Mike.
I was just going to say, we're talking about this exciting matchup that we all three of us agree can't not be exciting. Are you surprised you're not on the main card, Drew? Honestly?
No, not really. 'Cause, you got Nate Diaz on the card, and you got Leon Edwards. So like, there's some top names on there. So no, it doesn't surprise me. And actually, in my opinion, I'm the main event of the prelims.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's a great spot for me. I think all my friends and fans can watch my fight for free, and then we can all tune in for the pay-per-view together.
Perfect.
So like kind of like just seeing someone like Charles Oliveira, who's been in the UFC for a long time, had 20 plus fights, had multiple performance nights, etc. But like say 5 years ago, didn't look like a true contender in a sense, and it's just evolved so much. Does someone like watch someone's career like that inspire you to just know, like, because I know you're all about trusting the journey, being on and just like trusting the process, etc. Does seeing someone like that, just that longevity of his career, inspire you to know that, hey, like, I'm going to be a champion one day still?
I mean, there's a ton of them. I think Charles Oliveira is a great example of it's never finished after a loss, right? And you're only as good as your last. So
Yeah.
like, yeah, so you just got to disregard like the records and stuff like that. I mean, Charles Oliveira, Donald Cerrone, like I love the guy. I'll watch every time he fights. And then the Jan Blachowicz, I butcher his last name, who just beat Stylebender. Like he
Yeah.
had a losing streak as well. And so like, it's a beautiful example that you don't have to be seamless and you don't have to be perfect to become a world champion. It's just that constant effort and just staying focused and always, believing in yourself and all whatnot. But yeah, like I'm a firm believer. It doesn't matter how many losses you have. Everyone has the chance to be a world champion.
Definitely.
Because you've been in the UFC for such a long time now, Drew, that you've got that UFC experience where you will have more UFC fights than Brad Riddell's got MMA fights, if memory serves.
Yeah. I think that's actually one of the keys to my victory, which is just my experience. Because I have been in kickboxing, I have been in Muay Thai, and doing the transfer over to MMA. Man, it's different. It's combat, but it's a different style, right? So the distance is different, the movement's different. The incorporation of takedowns and level changing is completely different. And so, I think I have the advantage of I've been in the UFC and I've found how to incorporate my kickboxing in MMA, where I think he's still trying to figure it out.
Is it a little bit of you've almost learned how to be an MMA fighter through the UFC, if that makes sense? Like you've developed as a fighter in the premier organization?
Yeah, I mean, to be very specific, my second fight in the UFC against Nick Hein, he got the decision win because of his movement. Yeah, I was trying to kickbox with him and I was engaging hard, but because I couldn't keep up with evasive footwork and all that stuff, like I lost by decision. And so then I moved to Denver, Colorado for Team Elevation to get better at cage fighting. Like this is like I'm not just kickboxing. I'm not just doing jujitsu or wrestling. I'm getting better at fighting in the UFC. And so I found the guys and the coaches that teach me and show me. And my recent performances showcased, that I'm able to incorporate striking in the UFC.
Who have you been working with primarily for this camp?
So my coaches I got Oscar Martinez as my striking coach, Dave Zabriskie is my wrestling coach, and then Elliot Marshall is my jiu-jitsu coach. And those three guys are the ones yelling at me and telling me everything that I need to do.
All three guys will be in your corner as well then, or?
Yes, all three of those guys are going to be in my corner. So, I mean, Elliot Marshall is a loud black belt in jiu-jitsu, and so he's probably going to be the one everyone's going to be hearing.
What I meant was, true. Who are the specific sparring partners you've been having to maybe try and mirror Brad Riddell?
I mean, I don't really try to mirror opponents because let's be honest, Brad Riddell might even try to take me down. Who knows? Like people come in with like totally different game plans and all that other stuff. Something that has been consistent is that if I try to predict a fight, I'm usually wrong. So I'm my sparring partners like I trade punches to the face with Justin Gaethje all the time. Taiwan Claxton from Bellator, he's got a fight like the day before mine, so I have been training with him. And then there's a bunch of like regional guys. There's Muhammad Naimov. And there's this guy, I couldn't even tell you his last name. His first name's Logan. He's coming in from California. So, and the list goes on of like who I'm training with: Austin Hubbard, Lavelle Simpson, like all these guys. And so, what I love is I get like an aspect in like every field: tall, short, wide, dark, light. Like I get so many experiences in Team Elevation that I'm ready for anything.
How long have you been working at Elevation in total now? Then.
I think going on 7 years now.
Okay. And what gym do you do your Muay Thai at then?
So I do my Muay Thai at a gym called Muay Thai of Colorado with Oscar Martinez.
Okay.
You're actually my first fighter I've spoke to about the Team Elevation, Drew, to be quite honest with you. There's no specific reason, it's just never really materialized. But it's nice to see that gym down in Denver, Colorado starting to get the credit it deserves, I think, because it was always one of them unsung gyms, I felt.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And there's I've trained all over the country at numerous gyms, but Team Elevation was the unique gym that just the camaraderie, the family, the spirit, like all of it. And it's like, I absolutely really enjoy the training there because it's not just a meat factory. We're all just like beating each other up, trying to get ahead of each other, right? We all like are encouraging and helpful, and we care about how one another does. And even the coaches, like there's any sense of like ownership, like Justin Gaethje uses Trevor Whitman, Curtis Blades uses, Vinny Lopez. I use Oscar Martinez for like my striking coach. So it's like this cesspool of like growth and development that I absolutely really enjoy. And it shows in our abilities, like Corey Sandhagen, Curtis Blades, Usman, this is how you evolve.
Yeah, 100%.
It's funny. I talked to Shauna Dobbs before, and she kind of mentioned just kind of the synchronicity of just kind of what you said of between all the coaches from top to bottom. There's so many different ones. She works with Sean Madden and some other people, but she just said that there's like just kind of the synchronicity of everyone. Like no matter who you're getting coached by, everyone's on that same energy, that same vibe, with all kind of the same goal. It doesn't matter if you're just a student or a UFC fighter or wherever on the regional circuit. Just the energy is kind of just fully getting put into to everyone who's at Elevation.
Yeah, no, I believe that once a gym starts like the fighters can't leave the gym, and then the coaches don't leave the gym, they become like stagnant. Like what makes them great, the sport moves on past it, and they don't develop or learn new things. Where at Team Elevation, like people come and go, and coaches learn from each other, and the teammates learn from each other. To where Trevor Whitman helps me out sometimes. Chris Allen, Sean Madden has actually cornered me before, and man, it's just there's so many perspectives and characters, and everyone's trying to learn new things all the time that we actually evolve with the sport.
That's pretty awesome.
And a lot of contrasting styles as well. It's not one of them gyms, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not one of them gyms that has a specific style, say like an AKA is a wrestling-based gym. You guys have got quite a varied skill set, so everyone's learning different facets of the game.
Oh yeah, and that's perfect because every athlete is like their own unique car, and so you're not going to see Curtis Blades do the same thing like I'm doing, and I'm not doing the same thing Corey Sandhagen. I wish I could do, but I'm just not that type, right? And so with the athlete, he's got to have the coaches showing him the technique that works best for him. My little thick legs, you don't see me throwing up triangles and behaving like a snake on the ground, right? I'm more of like an armadillo, and so Elliot Marshall's helping me develop those abilities.
It's funny when I was talking to Curtis a couple months ago, and he was just talking about just how deep your gym is, and just what you're saying, just like the things that Corey can do and what Justin can do, et cetera, even you. And he's like, sometimes I just like pull some popcorn up, watch the cage, and watch the boys spar, because he's like, it's funner watching the gym times than any other of the fights.
I literally was just saying that on Friday. I was like, I cannot wait to just be a spectator for sparring again, right? Because like I'm neck deep in the things that I'm trying to do, but man, it's so much fun watching what everyone else is doing. And it's actually even more entertaining too. Is like keep watching Team Elevation, because we're not worrying about the UFC fighters we have now. We're also like focusing on the UFC fighters like on the next, and we have these like up and comers coming up that are like giving Gaethje and I a hard time all the time. And so like, man, like Team Elevation is going to be here to stay, and we're going to have champions, for, this year and next.
It's always the unsung heroes in the gym who no one knows at present, but maybe in the decade are maybe in your position.
Oh yeah, I mean, luckily enough, like I said, we're not like a meat factory,
Yeah.
so nobody's trying to like kill each other. But man, for just to say that I'm going into sparring and having easy rounds, like I mean, yeah, Justin Gaethje gives you hard ones, but like guys that you've never heard of gives me hard rounds too, and that's why I tell people I get beat up Monday through Friday, so I can occasionally beat someone else up on a Saturday.
Being like constantly training in Colorado, and then say when you have a fight in Vegas and other spots, can you actually notice the elevation on a big scale?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, when you're trying to like kill somebody in a cage, you're gonna get tired. And so, I can't tell going from Colorado to somewhere else, but I definitely did feel like going from somewhere else to Colorado. And so, no, it's a significant thing. And I think I do have an advantage in the conditioning department with it, but who knows? Because I get tired in every single fight because you're trying to win.
Drew, I wanted to ask you this, and I don't mean to be disrespectful to Brad Riddell when I say this, but he obviously had a battle with COVID recently. Is in any way part of the tactics going in to maybe drag him into deep waters and see if his cardio is an issue?
I mean, that's news to me. You're telling me that he battled with COVID for I'm hearing it now for the first time.
Okay.
But whether he does or doesn't or did or whatever, like, yeah, I'm always planning to push the pace. I only have 15 minutes to accomplish everything that I want to get accomplished. And so, man, I'm rushing forward. I'm doing everything I possibly can with the full 15 minutes. There's no time where I'm going to take a break, and let alone have him take a break. So he better enjoy that 1 minute in between the rounds, because that's the only deep breath he gets.
It's so strange, isn't it, when you think about it? If you have 4 fights in a year, 4 15-minute fights, you're technically only doing your official job. I know training is your job, but you're only doing your job for an hour a year. Isn't that crazy?
Oh, I know. I mean, you only get to see what I'm doing for like an hour of the year, right? But yeah, the significant damage, struggle, sweat, tears, and blood are all in Team Elevation. So
Is there any kind of opponent, so with a big win over Brad here, any kind of opponent that you're looking at in the top 15, or just kind of whoever would come your way?
like I'll be completely honest, I'm coming back from a loss, and so a win over Brad Riddell is going to have one win, on the win streak, and so I'm not in a position to start calling people out and like I want this, I want that. Like what I want is I'm going to start, just taking the next opportunity, get a second win, and start building on that win streak.
Drew, what in an ideal world? I like to ask people this question. It's always an interesting one. In an ideal world, where would you like to be come the 1st of June, 2022? So, what do you want to accomplish in the next 12-month period?
So the next 12 months. Oh, so the first, I mean, definitely a fight before Christmas would be great, but no, just big fights. I mean, there's a list of guys: Charles Oliveira, Dustin Poirier, Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler. Like these are the guys that I want to compete against, right? So it doesn't matter, if it's the beginning of the year, but in 2022, I want to be main event, main card, fighting the best in the world, putting on fantastic fights. I'm not getting any younger. We need to have this sooner. And so, I mean, that's what I look forward to.
Like the UFC, the brass of the UFC is definitely happy with you too, because you constantly seem to be getting put on all these big cards. Like you're coming on the Izzy card coming up. You're on that huge card in March. So you're obviously doing something right. The fans are happy. Me and Mike are super excited for your fights. So does that excite you to be getting put on all these big cards constantly, though, as opposed to just random fight nights?
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. I have a feeling the UFC likes, the way I perform. And so I'm just going to keep on performing the same way, which is I'm going to bleed and sweat and take risks and smile all the way through it.
I once heard this quote, and I want to get your take on it. Drew, is that the main event of the prelims to a pay-per-view is the ultimate advertisement?
Well, currently it is. No, yeah. I mean, well, I think we'll find out. We'll find out. But yeah, I'm super blessed and lucky to just be able to compete in the UFC in front of all you guys. So whether it's 4 a.m, prelims, main card, main event, man, I just love doing what I do.
Is there any extra impetus with this fight, having had a couple of fights without fan attendance, to have a sold out arena for this one?
Oh man, it's super motivating, super exciting. I did my best to tell everyone that it didn't really matter in 2020, but as I look back and I saw my fights back when there was audience, man, the cheers, the boos, the yelling, the screaming, it hits different and it excites you. And so, Justin Gaethje and I are firm believers that the audience really creates the fight.
100%.
Yeah, it was honestly like within that first 5 minutes of that card in Florida in April or whatever it was, you could those two girls that came out, they just came out chucking, and that was like totally energy. It was just the energy that arena was nuts.
And then
I think Joe Rogan and them had 6 minutes of commentary reactions just from that card, just because the energy was so nuts that day.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think 2020 was a time where we can now then appreciate the audience. And so, I cannot wait to be booed, because booing is a lot better than silence.
It almost felt retro. I don't know about if you guys felt that, but I was watching the card back, and it almost felt like I was watching fights back on Fight Pass or something like that. It felt slightly strange hearing crowd attendance back. I don't know if either of you felt that.
Yeah, they had
I know. It was just intermission, just oh, we're just gonna do these fights, and then we're just waiting for audience to come back.
They had sparring vibes too. It was just weird.
Right. Yeah. I'm very happy that things are going back to somewhat normal, and so, God, words can't express how excited I am.
That's why, again, at least it comes back to you getting put on the big cards, because the big cards have the crowds right now, and so the fight nights don't have crowds right now. So.
Yep. Yeah. No. Again, blessed and lucky that I was placed on this card. So I'm going to take advantage of that and really put on a show.
When do you head to Arizona?
So I leave on Tuesday. So
Okay,
Tuesday we got media day, we got weight cut, we got all the, the fun things, and then Saturday.
What's the worst day of fight week, Drew? Out of interest.
Thursday, the day before weigh-ins. That's the most sacrifice I have to make for any one reason, right? So Thursday is the worst, but it leads up to Saturday, which is the best. And then, once you get a win, Sunday feels even more incredible.
How is weight? Whereabouts are you in terms of weight?
I'm about 70. I have a significant cut than most people, or most 55ers, and so it's very unpleasant. But man, I'm working with a nutritionist here in Denver that and she knows what she's doing, and so it's smooth. It's tough but smooth.
Got anything else to say, Jer?
I don't know. I'm good right now, I think, but just super excited for the fight like that. Just thinking about that. And
likewise.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on the on your show and chatting with me. I gotta get back to drinking more water and shopping and whatnot. But no, I really appreciate you guys having me on.
Before you go, Drew, I'll ask you one final question. Give me a prediction for Saturday night.
Knockout.
Knockout.
I mean, that's what Brad and I are both going for, right? Yeah, I'm ready for a second round knockout.
Second round knockout, like it.
Superb. Well, great talking to you today, Drew. We're both very happy, as Jer said, that you were our first guest together. And yeah,
I appreciate it.
Well, we both, I think we can both wish you the best of luck for Saturday night.
Yeah, good luck, and I'll connect again soon, just not for a preview show, because like you said, you're bad at predictions. So hopefully you're good on this one, though.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you guys a ton, and I gotta take off.
Okay.